Hey there, everybody. This is Faris from the ASKFaris show, and I am so excited about tonight's guest. Tonight's guest is Erin White from the Hexagon Outsourcing Group. She is the CEO and what we call it, the master strategist, right?
Yes. Yes.
Master strategist, and she is doing a fantastic job by helping a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners go through and actually see their vision from a different direction. So, Erin, I would like to go through and welcome you on the show tonight.
I am so happy to be here, Faris. I know it has been a long time coming to be here, and I couldn't be more excited to be here with you after seeing you present at a conference. I was honored to accept this invitation to be here with you.
And I want you all to know, Erin, she runs a successful business, and she is a very, I'm not going to say busy, she's a very productive young lady. I mean, like, we've been trying to get our schedules to match for the last few months now, and we just found enough time to go through and get it going. So I really don't take that lightly. I really do appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule to come on to the ASKFaris family as well. So, Erin, before we get started, I want people to know, who is Erin? Like really at the core, because we understand that you're an entrepreneur, business person, etc. But who is Erin White?
So, I mean, that's such an interesting question. And it's so funny because literally when you were asking, a gazillion things were running through my mind. But I try not to say, if I am asked that question, I try not to talk about what I do. Mm-hmm. And I really try to answer the question about who I am. And I am a people lover. I love people. My undergraduate degree is in hospitality management. I actually did it on purpose. And I was in hospitality for a number of years. My first business was a small hotel that my family and I owned in Johannesburg, South Africa. And I really genuinely love people and love seeing them be productive. And it kind of segued into how I deal with people now. I like to see people become the best that they can be. And I'm just a people lover. I am a good viber. I'm a good energist. I just made up that word. I frequently make up words.
Let me pause right there, because that's one thing I really felt for you when we first met at the conference. I really felt your energy. I felt like positivity just exuded from you. I really felt like, oh my gosh, it's something about this young lady. And one thing I really want entrepreneurs to realize, that sometimes there's always people say something about you, something that radiates from you. And I always tell people that's a good thing. And sometimes, especially along the journey, for a long time, I could not put my finger on what that was. But sometimes it's that it factor. And that's one thing I saw, even from speaking from the stage. You had the it factor, because I think you were going live on the stage. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. But so now that we know a little bit about you, tell us a little bit more about your journey to the Hexagon Group.
So sure. So my journey is, I really believe that our steps are kind of ordered and if we're paying attention. And so, like I said, I started out in hospitality. Then I decided to get an MBA in human and organizational performance and entrepreneurship. And if you think about it, that HR is helping people again, right? And so then I decided that I would, my background as far as HR was at Coca-Cola Enterprises. Okay. And so I did HR there, strategic workforce planning, but all in the background was always people. And then I decided that I was going to start a business called The Honeycomb Life, and it was all about encouragement and how I could encourage other people. But then it kind of segued because I still love business so much. Yes. And so I still have the platform that I'll probably do something with later. But then Hexagon Outsourcing Group came from not only my experience, but my expertise and my willingness to help people come along. And what I like is structure in my life. And I know that sometimes it's the antithesis to a startup or entrepreneurship, but I noticed that other people would come to me a lot for advice on how to move forward, because when people see you from the outside looking in, it looks like, you have everything together. It looks, you probably look a lot more structured than you are. Exactly. And so I realized that I was really good at helping people kind of formulate frameworks. And that's what the Hexagon Group is all about. It's about helping people strategically plan in small increments for the future.
See, and I think one thing as entrepreneurs, a lot of times we have a lot of great ideas and we try to go through and implement everything, but sometimes you need that strategic planner. Just like you said, you need that person going to say, you know what, hey, these are great ideas, but let's hone in on this one idea. Let's stay focused on this just long enough to go through and get this legs to go through and start walking. And then, yes, we can go through and get the other things going, but right now, let's stay focused. And I think that's one thing that I really kind of saw, and I really kind of looked through your business. I saw that you do that masterfully. I don't know if I'll make that word up or not, but you do a really great job at that. And I realized that the tools and the tactics that you learned, you some of the things were innate. And some of the things, I know you said you work for the Coca-Cola Corporation and other corporations, and I really want my listeners to realize that just because you may be in a job right now, a job can be the training ground for your next level. Right. And what are some of the things that you took away from corporate America that like, cause I look at corporate America as a college. I look at, if I got you either going to pay for college or you're going to go get a job or a profession and learn on the job, and you can take that to the next level. But what did you learn while at those corporations to go through and actually implement for other businesses, local businesses, small business, large business that you work with today?
I think that's such a great question, Faris. And the reason why I think that's a good question is because, one, don't begrudge. This is just something, if you don't mind, I want to say to your audience, don't begrudge working for someone else, because our media and our kind of our society upholds like these handful of people that kind of went out, did this amazing thing, and now they're rock stars, and they quit school and they did this and they didn't have a job and they started out on their own. But by and large, that's not how it really goes for most successful entrepreneurs. They have a training ground, as you said. And so one of the things that I've always done, and this is advice that I give my clients, that I say, listen, I want you to go in your job and act like, how can I move the needle further? Don't go there and do your job description. You go in there as a game changer. And so I have this game changer mentality that I try to instill. So when I was in corporate America, I was like, how can I change the game? Okay. And so therefore, the first way you can change the game is by listening to those around you, understanding what their problems are, and understanding, because if you can't change the game until you see a need or a gap. And if you don't listen, then you're not going to be able to do that, and then you're not going to get promoted. You're just going to be seen as a person that does that. And so a lot of people leave corporate America for some reasons, but if you take just doing your everyday job that you did in corporate America into your entrepreneurship, it's not going to work. So what I did is that I listened, I looked for gaps, I looked for mentors. I always had a mentor inside of corporate America, but I also had what they call, an advocate. Okay. And so a mentor and an advocate is different. That's somebody high up in the organization or an influence in the organization that can talk about you when you're not around. Yes. And so when you learn how to do that, you transfer that into entrepreneurship, and you say, listen, isn't that what you need to do? You learn how to network, you look for opportunities, you build a business on a gap, and then you market your skills. It's the same thing inside, except for when you're doing it in an organization. I call those people, and these are people that I coach, I consult, and I help with strategic plans. I call them intrapreneurs. So intrapreneurs. Yeah, there was a gentleman that came that developed that phrase or that word some years ago that is kind of circulating, but it is an entrepreneur. How are you changing the game inside your organization so you can change the game outside of it?
And I think that's one thing I see a lot of people, especially nowadays, and you see this as well, a lot of people, they get really hyped on, I'm about to be a boss, I'm about to be the boss chick, I'm about to be the boss guy, I'm about to be the boss. But my thing is, until you can be a servant, until you can go through and serve someone else, you are not, the title of a boss is only a title. You don't have the necessary tools to lead those successful organizations. It takes so much more than a title to lead an organization.
Absolutely.
It takes experience. It takes a willingness to go through. You have to be a team builder. You have to be a servant leader to go through and do these type of things. And I really want my listeners to realize that, yes, it's great that you have the idea to go through and start your business. Yeah. But it's the same idea that you have. Will you give it an opportunity to be nurtured? Will you be able to go that couple years to go through and work with an organization to learn those things, to identify the gaps while getting paid, to identify the gaps, to go through and say, you know what, now this is the right time because I have grown. It's almost like a seed saying I'm already a tree. No, a seed is a seed and a tree is a tree. So until you go through and catch roots and start busting the ground and growing, you're not a tree yet. Yes, the seed is implanted in us, but give it time. And I want people to realize, yes, entrepreneurship is beautiful, it's very sexy and everything, but it takes a lot of work. And as you know,
from the outside.
Look, I want you to go through a dispel of myth about entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
People think that, and I told somebody asked me a question last week about something about, well, Faris, it looks like you have everything just going well. I tell people social media make everything look good. Of course, I'm not gonna put my trash on social media. But
why would you want to see it? That's what I don't understand. Why would you want to see it?
The nights that I'm up at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, stressing out and going, and I don't have a haircut. No, that's not what I want people to see. But my thing is, I want people to realize that it's work. It's a lot of work. It's not 9 to 5. It's not 9 to 5. So let's go in and dispel that myth. So tell me about your worst entrepreneurial moment. Tell me about your worst entrepreneurial moment.
My worst okay. So this is not in this business per se, but when we owned the bed and breakfast in Johannesburg. The worst part is when you have people depending on you and you haven't made a red cent. So you have a staff that that has children and a family, and you have to figure out a way to bring in money. So there was many a night because I went over there and a portion of my family had decided they were going to buy this property and they were going to run it from the States because they just live over there. So because my background was in hospitality, they asked me to go over there and run it. I said, okay. So I did that, kind of tried to re-engineer it to get us on the map or whatever. But in the meantime, that takes time and it's still people working for us. And they were lovely people. I mean, still are lovely people. But I'm up at night like this, like, oh my God, there's no money coming in. So we're using our own money to make sure that they get paid because that's the right thing to do. And also trying to lead them so they believe in us that, I can turn this thing around. And so I think my worst entrepreneurial moment was when I just realized that if I don't do something differently, we're going to have to close. And because I'm not a quitter, I said, okay, so let me get some. I went to Barnes & Noble, and I didn't know what I was looking for, but I was looking for marketing, and I came across this book called Guerrilla Marketing.
Oh, yeah.
And
yes, I have it on my shelf.
Over there?
That's the only way I market is guerrilla style, all the way.
You got to do guerrilla marketing, but back then it was this whole thing like we have now wasn't even thought of. So let me be clear. This was in 2004. Okay, and I left in 2007, but this is 2004. So all of this that we have now, the SEO and all that kind of stuff, it wasn't as available to us as it is now. And so I really I wrote up my marketing plan. I had never wrote one before. I wrote up, I had to make hard decisions about employees and letting go to cut lean. And then I had moved from New York at the time. I was living in New York. And I had moved to South Africa. I didn't cook a thing living in New York. we couldn't afford to have a cook. Well, guess who that fell on? This
my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, I'm asking a question. Can you cook for one thing?
Well, I learned, honey, and let me tell you something, because when I had events, so this is what happened. I said, okay, we don't have any people in these beds. We're not making money. So I said, what did I know how to do? Because in New York, I had left Madison Square Garden, where I was the event coordinator for every major event that wasn't on the basketball floor. And so I said, I'm going to do what I know how to do. I'm going to do events. So I started going to different companies and telling them they could rent our house for events. And that's how I got us on the map.
Wow.
And our pool was awful. It sucked. It looked like it was a swamp. And so I had SAB Miller come in, and they said, oh, well, we're going to have a fashion show and end of the year party. And they walked around the pool. They said, but your pool is disgusting. So I came up with a price. I said, if y'all take care of the pool, Ingenuity, Gorilla, I said, if y'all take care of the pool, the cost of the pool, I'll knock off. I got my pool done, added value to the house, got us on the map, and went out there. It really is about, then people started to know who we are, and we started getting business. And me and my housekeeper, I taught her how to market from what I knew. I didn't really know. Taught her how to market. And we came up with a little packet that we literally beat the pavement and took it to every business in our radius. And then we just started getting leads. And I'll tell you, who became one of our major clients was the doctor at the time of Nelson Mandela, because he lived, Nelson Mandela had a home not too far, like 4 streets over. And so and all of a sudden the phone went from radio silent until one day it just started ringing.
Oh my goodness.
And that's when I had to build my strategy out, revise my strategy. But I worked with, I'm gonna tell you, we had 3 people on staff. We had a gardener, because we sat on the acre of land. We had a gardener. We had like a house guy who did everything around the house. And then we had a housekeeper, and then me, the cook. So when we had those parties of 300 people, I cooked for everything.
Wow. And that's one thing I want people to realize. This was a worst entrepreneurial moment turned into something great.
You had to make it happen.
If you give up along the way, and because it's going to look dismal, it's going to be some times where like finances may not, the ends may not meet, but it's what you do. It's like, it's getting out the comfort zone. It's not saying that, you know what, I have a master's degree, I have a doctorate degree, I'm an attorney or whoever. No, it's putting those things to the side and saying, you know, whatever it takes to get the job done, we're going to get the job done. So if you have to make up a bed or cook a meal, we're going to get the job done, because it's not about where we are right now. It's where we're going as an organization. And that's the thing that I realized, that's where the birth of the Hexagon Outsourcing group came, because like it came out of the struggles to success. And now that you actually walk the blueprint, you live the blueprint, you walk the blueprint, now you're helping other businesses actually implement the blueprint. So let's go strictly into this right here, to the Hexagon Outsourcing group. Tell us about that. Tell us about what are you doing to really go in and change the business community with the group?
Right. So I want to reset here, because I also help individuals as well. And so one of the things that I concentrate on, one of my key tools that I use is a SWOT analysis. And a SWOT analysis is an entree to anything. And so it's the strengths, weaknesses, and opportunity assessment and threat assessment to kind of understand where you are as a business, as a person that's thinking about starting a business, so you can get a real clear picture of who and what you are or your business is. And so what our goal is to ensure that people are clear on what they want to do, people are clear on how they're going to make an impact, and then help them kind of set small goals in a time frame that is not necessarily annualized, because I think even nowadays, since we have all this technology and stuff, people don't have that capacity to think that far ahead. So I help people whittle it down into small chunks, and we build a plan out from there that becomes iterative, meaning you can build on it and change it over time.
Exactly.
And so that is the premise of it, because again, it's business, but it's helping me help others ensure that they can get what they're after, and that they can live their best life. And so you see that thread goes all the way through it, of helping people be their best.
Beautiful.
I hope I answered that question. I hope
you did. You did. And that's one thing I really want my listeners to realize, that these services are needed, because I think so many times entrepreneurs feel like they're on an island by themselves, realizing that I have to do everything. I have to come up with a plan. I have to analyze my own business. I have to do this. And my thing is, it's like in the Bible says, lean not to your own understanding. I really feel like a lot of times people lean to their own understanding, because we look in the mirror and say, you know, it's going to be all right. Sometimes you have to get outside that. Now that, like, it's not like we're back in the 1950s. Now you have coaches. Now you have businesses. You have groups that people are willing to go through and help you out. Because
can I interject there, Faris? Because if we are going to talk about the good book, one of my favorite scriptures is, to your point, wisdom is in a multitude of counselors.
Yes.
And sometimes we want to do it on our own, and we stagnate, and we get analysis paralysis.
Yes.
But to your point, it's important to get out there and seek help and seek wisdom and seek the experiences of others.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what we have to go through, and actually really watch who's in our circle. And I always tell people my circle's strong. Like I intentionally go through and put people in my circle.
Yeah.
And I like to look around and say, you know what, my circle's strong. Everyone of us, we don't have the same strengths, but we're strong together. So if for some reason I knew I had to go through and assist, like if I need to go through and get some assistance with outsourcing, I know who to go to. I know who to go through when it comes to my legal help. I know who to go to when it comes to my finance.
Yeah.
It's like when you have your strong circle, it gives you more confidence and assurance in your own ability to do what you have to do. So now you have to focus on everything. You really just focus on things that you're passionate about.
That's right. Yeah.
Man, so again, I don't want to keep you on this too long, but one thing I really want us to go through, I really want you to go through it. So let's say if there's someone out there who needs your service, so kind of identify people that need your services today. Give me who's your ideal client? Like where are they at right now in their business? What are some of the things, what are some of their pain points? Because I really want them to contact you.
So thank you so much, Faris. I appreciate that. So there are two entry points to Hexagon Outsourcing and for me helping you. The first is somebody that's looking to start a business and that has kind of just starting a business. We don't have necessarily in-depth consulting for them, but we help you with that clarity setting. And so you can get on your way. We kind of springboard you in that way into what you want to do. Because the nature of a brand new entrepreneur is that they want to run very quickly.
Yes.
And so we help springboard you into that, and we make recommendations for where you should go after that. What we do with our current wheelhouse is, and what we are really good at, is entrepreneurs or people in their career that are either seasoned in their career or entrepreneurs that have been in business for 3 years or more. And these are the folks that value that whole strategic planning piece. And so we can look at them and say, okay, if we want to help you plan out in a year increment and then break that down, we can help you do that, because now they've been through all of the hurdles. They're willing to sit down and listen and say, okay, now that I have my platform, I'm clear about what I want to do. I need you to help take me to the next level. And so those are the two entry points. So it's a really quick, high-level touch for the brand new entrepreneur, but a more in-depth touch for an entrepreneur that has been in business for 3 years or more.
I like that. And those are the ones that actually have stood the test of time.
Yeah.
The ones that actually have been there for that 3 years. The one that actually they've already seen, not saying the worst days, they've seen some bad days, but they went on, because the worst days, I don't know. I want to say they get behind us, but it seems like at every level there's always a challenge. Not saying it's the worst day, there's another lesson you learn. In which
it'll always be that.
That's an entrepreneur. That's what we do. So okay. We're going to go through and bring this to a wrap, because I like to go through and keep the interviews about 30 minutes. So I want you, before we go, I want you to go through two things. I want you to give a parting piece of advice for that young entrepreneur who's out there, who's who they're thinking about actually starting that business or thinking about taking that leap. I want you to give a strong sense of advice for those individuals that are actually thinking about taking that leap.
I got it. Big piece of advice that I want to give you that you are thinking about taking that leap is 4 things. Research. That's the best thing you can do. Get yourself a library card. Get yourself the internet, as I like to call them. Get on there and do all the research you can. Yes. Don't get into analysis paralysis, but do research. Second thing is educate yourself. If there's something that you need to do, read books. If you need a mentor and there's nobody around, then you pick up a book of somebody who's done something similar and learn their lessons. The best mentors are in books.
Yes.
The second thing is network. And I have a very strong opinion of networking. You hone in, there's a thing called strategic networking. This is something that I help my clients with. So you strategically network, but you look for what you can give instead of what you can get.
Wow.
So when you're networking, I want you to have an ear for, what can I help this person with that would make me valuable to them? Because you sowed the seed. You talked about a seed in the very beginning. You don't network when you want something. You network in the beginning to give something. So then when you do need something, that seed is already planted.
Yes.
And then the last thing is implement. Make sure you implement, you take action. You take action immediately. Don't worry about how it looks. It may be ugly. You may be tripping over your feet. You may trip on the sidewalk and hit your head. The hair may fall off. I don't know. But you need to take action and take it quickly after you've done these things. And so those are the 4 pieces, if I can bundle those into one. Research, educate yourself, network purposefully and strategically to give and not get, and then implement, take action.
And these are the golden nuggets. And my thing is, I think sometimes people look at success and think that it happens overnight. And I just like I tell people, overnight is not just a 24-hour period. Overnight is a period of time where it may look like, because Erin, you didn't learn all this yesterday.
No, I didn't.
You just supposed to get that and to regurgitate what you have learned as well. And that's one thing I really want people to see as seasoned entrepreneurs. It's not like we just go through and just woke up and said, we have an idea and we can go through and do these things. We went through the test of time. We gave it, we failed, Lord knows, I couldn't even tell you how many businesses.
I mean, I'm still failing. I think it's a book that everybody should read called Failing Forward by John C. Maxwell. It's an incredible book.
Yes, and we're not afraid to fail because we know that that's a part of the process.
Absolutely.
There's no perfect entrepreneur. One thing that all entrepreneurs have in common is they all are failures that have succeeded at failing. That's it. So hey, before we go, definitely going to go through and actually allow you an opportunity to go through. This is the AskFaris show, and I remember last season I didn't give anybody an opportunity to go through and ask me any questions, but I want you to ask that one question that's near and dear to your heart that you need to go through and get an answer from me.
I have a great question. I want to know, what do you want when it's all said and done for your professional legacy to be?
Wow. It's funny, like my thing is, my professional legacy is not built on finances. My professional legacy is built on impact. Mm-hmm. And I realized that the one way to go through and impact a generation of people or community is to go through and increase their finances as well. Mm-hmm. And so one thing, this is my wife and I, we talked about this. I said, throughout my lifetime, I want to go, and I think it's because I think I'm going to achieve that way before my lifetime, because I don't plan on leaving here in the next 5 to 7 years. I want to be 100 years old. But I want to go through and help create 100 million and 107-figure businesses, not for myself, but I want my clients to go through and actually achieve that, because I work with a lot of small businesses. And I want them to go through and feel that level of success, because I remember when I first built my business to that level, it was difficult. Like, oh my gosh, it was a lot of hard work. I mean, a lot of pain, tears, a lot of times that I wanted to give up. But I want people to experience that journey, but also the successes that comes with that journey. Because I feel like if they can experience and then they take it back to their individual communities, they will also impact. It'll be a domino or a triple effect as well. So that's what I want my professional legacy to be, is to realize that, hey, this guy lived his passion. He lived his purpose, and we are directly reaping the rewards just because he wasn't afraid to take that leap.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. Thank you.
You are more than welcome in. Hey, but before we go, I want people to connect with you. Where can we find you on social media, website, whatever? How can they go through and reach out to you and your organization?
So the first thing I'd like to do is offer you to join my Facebook group called Hard Work and Dreams. We're about to start a book. We're going to analyze the book together, and it's called the 12-Week Year. But the only way you can get in on that is to join our Facebook group called Hard Work and Dreams. The second thing is, if you join that group, you can also get my free workbook. I mentioned it earlier on how to SWOT your business and life into high gear. I teach you how to do a SWOT analysis. It's perfectly free. All you do is have to download it, and I will take you through that. I'm actually going to start a live webinar on it in the very near future. So join our group, Hard Work and Dreams. If you just want to see what I'm up to in general, and some of my personal stuff that I do and my business stuff, you can find me on facebook.com/HexagonOG. And I am on Instagram at Hexagon Outsourcing, and my website, should you want to reach me for some business and to help you get into high gear, you can find me at www.hexagonoutsourcing.com. And what I always like to say is that your destiny is waiting, and those that you are impacted waiting too. So I say your destiny is waiting, and so are we.
Wow, wow. Beautiful, 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 beautiful words. And we just really appreciate you coming on and just gracing our presence with your dynamic story. And I love your story from New York to Johannesburg to everywhere in between. I just want to say thank you so much. And I'm going to definitely include all of those links into the show notes as well, because I really want people to go through and actually join the group, because I'm going to be joining this group as well. So as soon as you inbox me that link, I want to go through that. And it's a funny fact, because you said like you're pretty much starting a book club within the group for there. It's a funny fact, when I was in the military, and I'm about to go, but when I was in the military and I was single, and I was like, the only way to meet girls were the girls I wanted to meet. I wanted to meet her. I didn't want nobody.
Yeah, you met your wife in the book club.
I joined the book club, and I think I still have my book around here. I had Sapphire wrote a book called Push.
Yes.
There's a movie. I forgot the name of the movie. Precious. So that was the first book club I joined, and
I can't stand you. Y'all men come up with all kinds of points. That is a good one. That was.
I was destined. I'm a 5 million woman in this book club, and I don't know if you read read Push before, but Push is not written in it's written with a lot of grammatical slings and everything, so it was kind of difficult, but. that reading. But anyhow, that's just a fun fact.
That's awesome. Do you mind if I say thank you to you really quickly? Thank you so much for reaching out to me and asking me to be on your show. Like I said at the top of the hour, you are incredible. The work that you and your business does and your family is incredible. And I am just grateful to be aligned with you. And anytime you want me to come back, I sure will.
I'm telling you, you're my circle. My circle's strong. My circle's strong. Well, there you have it. There you have it. Thank you so much for being on the show. And we're going to be chatting. We have to grab some coffee real soon. Really.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Well, I'll chat with you a little later.
All right. Take care.
Judge, loyal. I just been working a lot. I'm on my way to the top. I just be ducking the ops. I want to cut the new.